Welcome to NxBizsuccess. My name is Lynn Hinderaker. This is the just-in-time training network for entrepreneurs who need to succeed. Hardly anybody has received more criticism lately than educators. Perhaps Wall Street brokers would be the exception to that, but other than that, educators and administrators of educational institutions have received enormous criticism because they seem to struggle with getting our kids to succeed, pass tests, graduate, and really understand what it is that our teachers are trying to teach them. That's why you're going to be excited to learn today that I've got an interesting guest. He's here to actually solve that problem. He's done a great job the last 2.5 years. He's a classic entrepreneur. And he's here in the Lincoln, Nebraska area in the Research Park. His name is Dennison Bola. Dennison, welcome to NxBizsuccess.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your organization? It's called Assessment, Learning, and Technology Solutions. It's 2.5 years old. We're eager to learn about the market space. What is it really all about?
We have 3 products in our product line. We have software, professional development workshops, and consulting services. Our software enables teachers to know whether their students are learning what they're trying to teach them.
Tell me about the development of the software. How did that go? Was it a streamlined process, or was it a lot stop and start as many R&D efforts are?
Although we started the company in 2006, I started putting pen to paper about the ideas in 2002.
Ah, so 4 years before you actively began planning it, before it actually gave birth.
Yes. And during that 4-year period, I contacted programmers who were friends of mine who discussed the idea with me, the idea that was on paper, and moved the idea from idea stage to prototype stage.
Okay, all right.
We built the prototype and then took it down to the University of Nebraska,
right,
where we had conversations with Dr. Barbara Plake. Dr. Plake is known as the measurement goddess in Nebraska.
Ah.
And so she looked over what we had. She was my advisor when I did my PhD. And we had conversations about the potential value that this could bring.
Now, I want to move ahead to the financing phase. How did that go? Many entrepreneurs and venture people that are watching these video podcasts, every experience is different. Briefly tell us how the financing process went.
Okay. At the start, we tried to do everything out of pocket. So we built the prototype with our own money.
So you bootstrapped initially?
Yes. Then we built a working product, and I gave 50% of the company to the company that built the working product.
So you gave up some equity?
Yes. And then we took the product to market.
Okay. When
we got to market, we realized that our product didn't meet all the needs of the market.
Ah.
And so we had to go back to the drawing board, and at that point in time, we needed financing.
Ah. And did you know at that point how to go about financing? Had you ever approached a lending organization before?
Well, the direct answer is no. However, I asked around and was directed to the Small Business Development Corporation.
SBDC, yes.
Went to their website, made some phone calls, and got connected with people who were eager to talk and to share.
Okay.
What I found out was that these people were able to help you put together a business plan.
Right.
And as an entrepreneur without prior knowledge doing that, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
So I want to say thank you to the SBDC.
Was the business plan fairly slim and to the bottom line, or was it a voluminous document? I'm just curious.
I could have made it what I wanted. The thickness depended on how much information I had already done in terms of research. So our first document was about 16 pages long.
Okay, 16 pages.
And out of that, a lot of it was about the idea and how we would convert that idea into a money-making business.
Great.
What I didn't know about was how to put together those spreadsheets, you know, the pro forma and the balance
the cash
sheet
flow projections.
and cash flow projections. Those are things that I had not done before.
Right.
And the SBDC was very helpful in that regard.
You told me that you also, even after the success there, getting some financing, you also had to go to friends and family and invest deeply and personally in financing this thing, right?
That is true. The SBDC could help you prepare a business plan, but they do not have their own funds to provide financing. And so they introduced me to a couple banks. I did the proposals to the banks. The banks were not convinced that at that time we were an investment that they wanted to take the risk with. And so in order to get things off the ground, to raise the first $250,000 or thereabouts.
Okay.
What I decided to do was to use my own cash, money that I'd put aside for my retirement, and approach my brothers and sister and father for help to finance this project.
Dennis, let me ask you a question. How did it feel to have to go to your friends and family and ask for that money? Was it something that came naturally to you? Were you reluctant to do it? Did people feel uncomfortable or obligated to invest in your idea? How did that all go?
Okay. Well, because I didn't want to create an obligated feeling to the members of my family, I let them know up front that I wasn't expecting them to take money that they would not be willing to lose. For me, I thought at that point in time that this was my dream coming to reality and that it was going to be a wild success beyond my imagination and that I wanted for them to share.
Yeah.
And so I knew that whether they had invested or not, though, these people knew that if I was successful, that they would also benefit.
So you had an equity relationship with them. You gave them a piece of the company and so on?
Definitely.
So you've done a great job bringing the product through development and research and producing the product. You've switched off development teams. You've made your product compatible with various computer platforms and so on.
Yes.
So at this point in time, why don't you just move forward? What's going on? What do you need next in the unfolding of your business plan, Dennison?
Okay. In a business plan like this, entrepreneurs need to know that there are 3 basic stages.
Yes.
1, you take your idea and you create a prototype. 2, you take the prototype to production.
Right.
And 3, and very critical, is that you take what you've produced to the customers. Mm-hmm. And if up front you had done your research, you would have known that there was a market where people were willing to pay for your product. And at the prototype stage, you would have taken it out, shown it to potential customers, and asked them if they would buy it and how much they would pay for it.
Sure.
Okay, so we're at that 3rd stage where we need to get our product into the hands of customers who could reap the benefits and get good value for their money.
What kinds of advice would you share with everybody?
What I'd say is, first of all, be sure that you have passion for what you're doing. Because without that, you'd run out of steam. If you think that it's going to take you 2 years, plan for 5.
Yeah.
So that when you look at your plans, particularly your financials, you don't underfund yourself. Go for larger scale funding rather than less. Right? What I have decided is that if I were to do this all over again, after I decide on what my budget is, I would multiply it by a factor of 2, just to be sure that in case emergencies arise, that we're still prepared to stay in there for the long term.
Great. Dennison Bull, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I admire you. I know many technology entrepreneurs are eagerly watching this, learning a great amount of insight in a short period of time. So thank you for joining us, and best of luck in the near future. I know you're going to do terrific. My name's Lynn Hinderrocker. This is NxBizsuccess. Tune in next time. We've got enormous insights, practical application, and wisdom for all small business people. Thanks again for watching.